Thank you all for joining us today for our LiteLinx panel discussion, The Future of Fiber Construction, Smarter, Faster, More Cost Efficient. Here to present from LiteLinx is their VP of Sales, Alex Freilichman, CEO and founder, Ishi Amsterdamer, and representing Winncom Technologies, our Fiber Product Manager, Alex Cernick. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them in the chat and they will be addressed at the end of the panel discussion. Alex, you're up.
Thank you, Dawn, as always, for the fantastic introduction. And thank you, LiteLinx, as our co-host for today's panel discussion. As Dawn mentioned, the title of today's discussion is The Future of Fiber Construction. So we have a really fascinating 60 minutes ahead of you. What we ask, though, is if you have questions, do one of two things. Either put them in the chat, or wait to the end and we'll kind of open it up a little bit. Now, just to kind of set the stage of what we're going to talk about today is a new product coming from LiteLinx. It's called an F360. So through today's panel discussion, we're going to ask a lot of questions back and forth, but we're going to highlight this new product, the F360. We're going to talk about how it's streamlining workforces, how it's helping customers minimize waste and errors. And then we'll talk about some of the core capabilities of where this fits along with the corresponding benefits of this particular product. I would start this off just with a quick question to you, Alex. I guess generally, what inspired the development of the F360i platform, and what challenges in the fiber construction were you trying to solve? You're on mute, buddy.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Don, for the introduction as well. What about now? Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for the introduction. As always, it's a pleasure being here. Ishai is still kind of sorting his why every time when we start go to webinar in a public forum, suddenly it starts misbehaving. I'm kind of wondering. So
I kind of want to know how you made yourself a shadow. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is that part of the
F360? My picture looks better than yours. In fact. Oh my God, what is going on here today?
Alex, do you want me to answer about that question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and try.
Okay. So the inspiration for this solution came from, I would say, from working with customers. Once we started working with customers many years back in when we were in the wireless domain, and we heard their frustration about the fiber. And only when we started to actually deep dive into it, we realized that there is a lot of things that can be done to improve the way the fiber works, and not the fiber itself, not once you're putting the light into the glass itself, but how you actually get to that point that you can turn the switch on, the light on, and everything works, right? So that actually gave us the idea that, okay, we are in an industry that predominantly not too many, I would say, IP came to the picture and brought some easiness in the way people are actually deploying and the way things are doing. Yes, lately there are maybe a few more things that are coming to help, but eventually we didn't see a major breakthrough or major jumps. There is many type of cables. There are very sophisticated way how to do the FDH cabinet, how to do the FOSC, how to do all the passive element. But what we're thinking, how we can do those passive elements in a smart way, and then how we can combine them with a really smart technology. And this is what inspired us actually to go and on this F360i journey. That was the vision behind it. This is what we set up the company for, because we are technology people. We do believe in technology. This is what we were doing for many years, and this is what we will continue doing it. And part of our mission is not to do one product, but to keep innovating around the same product and bring other solutions.
No, excellent.
Yep, looks like we normalized a little bit of our videos. Let's see if Ishai can get his haircut working as well for us. Thank you, Ishai. I appreciate you picking up. So what Ishai basically mentioned is 100% correct. In the fiber world, we're dealing with products, and products are products. Some of them are better, but some of them worse. Some of them have better features. But cost of the construction is significant. Is significant chunk of a budget, and
Yeah.
you know, we can talk about discounts, but those discounts and the products don't really affect total cost of the project much, because on average, generally 70% of a project budget is allocated for the construction. So even if we're going to extend an extra discount, materials generally take anywhere from between 10 and 20% of the total project cost. And if we say 20%, that means really well-oiled machine where things are optimized. Someone is keeping tight shift on the tight control on the inventory. They know exactly what's going on, spending a lot of hours to make sure that to make sure that not much materials are wasted and everything runs smoothly. Someone is doing it on the background, which means there is an extra cost. Usually it's the humans that do this job. So on average, 70% is a construction. And the big question is, and again, obviously there is a difference between aerial and underground. So I'm kind of saying it I'm averaging things out. And the big question is, can we, through a technology, can we introduce a meaningful dent into this formula where we could come in and say, guys, we can drop your cost of the construction by 20 to 30%. Now conversation is no longer product discount. Conversation is, hey, we can radically change the way that you're doing constructions. We can save you lots of hours, lots of waste material. Let us help you be better, more efficient. So and thanks to Ishai and his team, this is where the smarts come in, and we're able to come up with really cool way to embed our patent pending technology into the products, into the fiber optic cable, into the materials, outside plant material, and be able to get access into the real time data that's normally would not be possible.
And I 100% agree with your previous statement. We're doing a lot of bead applications now, and I would say between 65 and 70% of the total cost of the applications are absolutely construction costs, are absolutely pre-engineering costs. So I think a system that helps you by 20 to 30% reduce operational costs is huge. Now, can you kind of walk us through where those savings typically come from?
Yes. So what I'll do, to answer your question, Alex, I'll go to the next slide, and then I'll come back. So, oops, where we are? Come on. All right. So to answer your question, there are 4 main components of the project. We are, it's not populating for some reasons. Okay, let's go back. So there are 4 main components of the project that we are addressing. We're addressing the inventory control. We are addressing construction. We are addressing locates, and we are addressing audits. So if you look at any project, from end to end, you have those 4 main components that people have to deal with. You control the inventory, you deal with construction, maybe 1 crew or multiple crews, and the more crews you have, the bigger problem becomes, because now it's multiplied across several several organizations. You have to keep track of inventory, you have to keep track of people, you have to make sure that inventory is brought closer towards the project, and so on. Then locates becoming a big issue. So now you deployed your technology, you deployed your facilities. Where are they precisely? There is a tone wire that often some cables can come with, but things can happen with a tone wire. Cable can be deployed at different depth. How do you know exactly what depth it is, or is it? It may be aerial, right? So there are questions that come up post deployment. There are questions come up during the construction as far as validation verification.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly has been done by this crew as of this moment? You can just simply log into the portal and see it in real time. So suddenly those questions, hey, I connected this box, or I didn't connect this, or I deployed this FOSC, or I didn't connect this, deployed this FOSC, they disappear. It's just, it's either there and it's been scanned and validated in real time or not. So the locates and audit becomes a big answer and cost associated post deployment. And how we do that? We do that, and Ishai will talk a little bit more about it. We do it through 8 main modules. Through the smart.
Maybe Alex, just before that, just to add to what you said, I think that to complete the answer to your question, Alexei, is where we are saving, and how we are saving. So whenever you have people involved, the most important and critical aspect of it is the synchronization. So what the system actually does, it's to provide a better synchronization across the organization.
Mm-hmm.
This means that if the project manager need to schedule a crew, for example, to go to a certain location, and they need to pick up material from a certain warehouse, that they can actually see that the material is out there. Because a week after the project starts, nobody knows what material exists in which warehouse. That's it. It's constantly need to be manually done and manually audit. So this is just one example. But there are many synchronization issues, like how you actually track your make ready, how you're tracking your permit, how you're doing all that stuff. So there is a lot of synchronization that once you're taking all those things and you make them in a more efficient way, and you put algorithm behind it, and you put AI into the system and matching items, then you start to give the project manager and other stakeholders within the company, you get them to a point that they have a lot of visibility, and that visibility also come in a real time. So what it's create better usage of material, better synchronization, crews that are scheduled in the same time. Then what was happened, what cable was deployed, and where it was deployed. So bunch of questions are now being addressed and answered, and all that stuff come with a nicely done tools that help you manage your design, manage your playground. It's a concept that we actually introduced, so you can compare between what you want to do and what exists in the system. And all that stuff, essentially, once you're actually analyzing it across all those steps, you're saving money. Just to give you an example, a different example, let's say that you sent a contractor to do a job. After a month, maybe sometime 2 months, when you start to reconcile the invoices, nobody remember what was done. So everybody agreed on average price that seems fair to everyone, and they move on. What happened is that you, as an ISP, this is where your bleeding starts, because you're closing on average instead of what was done in actuality. In this case, when you're doing a work order in our system, you know exactly what was done, you know who has done it, when they have done it, and how much time they actually spend on it, because you can see the tracking that they have done. So those things also help you to save money per invoice. So it's actually in the system, it's sprinkled across the entire business operation of the project.
Nice, yeah. And I mean, just off the top of my head, I think it'd also be interesting for customers that are leveraging government vehicles of funding, where you have milestones, either monthly or quarterly, where you submit reimbursements. The ability to go in through reports and see what work has truly been done, I think it makes a service provider's life infinitely easier.
Yeah, it's basically you're talking about push of a button report.
Yeah.
Yes, and all the stakeholders, whether it's the CFO, the CEO, whoever needs that piece of information, it's all available to them.
Yeah, so the easiest way it's not the easiest way, but the most abstract way when I try to present in a very simple language, when we talk about F360, think about a Rubik's Cube.
Mhm.
Every person within the organization that handles different aspects of the project, F360 going to resonate with them differently, and they will see different benefits. So one of the interesting applications that we recently just began just discussing with potential customers and prospects is just inventory control alone. Because what we do with inventory, nobody else does it. So suddenly things become, yeah, we cannot help them on the actual material side, yeah, but we can help their inventory side to be more efficient, the warehouse portion. So
just to rephrase, we can help them on the material side, but if they want just the portion of the inventory, we can support them in the inventory portion of it.
Yep. And in fact, what I did is expecting that GoToWebinar may have some challenges for us, offer challenges to share screens back and forth. So what I did, I have embedded a couple videos for the group to see an initial inventory entry into the system when a warehouse needs to run an inventory. How long does it take for them to really do the job? And it's going to take them longer to walk around at the warehouse if they use a handheld scanner. There are several solutions for the scanners that exist that for a fixed and Isha can speak a little bit more about it, but we have few flavors of the scanners that are available. So and a project may contain several of them. One or more scan.
Alex, I think your voice
Alex,
is
it's hard to hear
completely
you.
breaking.
Yeah, drop your video,
Depending on
see if that helps, if you don't mind.
They're gonna
All right, so
carry.
I will pick it up, Alex. I will pick it up until you.
But it's gonna take you longer to walk than actually do the actual inventory that will be provided to you without you.
Okay, so what we have
Go ahead,
is a bunch of scanners. So we have a mobile scanner, and then we have fixed scanners. The fixed scanners are actually working interchangeably with the mobile scanner, and those are coming together to fix some errors. Let's say someone dropped a pallet of equipment, but they never did a material entry, or someone took equipment, but they didn't do material exit. So as long as if people are obeying the process, then there is no problem. But those fixed scanners are there just to compensate and to fix any error that happens and make sure that there is a real-time audit agent that exist within the warehouse and making sure that the entire inventory is accurate and intact. So this is kind of give a blanket coverage to this for the system and for the inventory management. And the good portion about it is that once someone is doing it, it's being logged. Once it's being logged, we know who has done it, and we have an activity log. We can say who is accountable for that piece of equipment. So even within the inventory, you can get a report of what happened with each item throughout its life cycle. And you can start and see that in the screen that is the video that was recorded here. You can see here who is the assignee. You can see the location of the warehouse. And what we are doing, we are creating a geofencing around the warehouse. So everything that is scanned in the surrounding of the warehouse become part of the warehouse automatically. So all that stuff is being nicely done. And you can see material exit, material return. There was material entry at the beginning. You can see the entire life cycle of material and the way it's actually processed within the system. So that gives you an accountability within the organization, because today what happened is nobody knows. And we have a security kind of an MFA. It's not that you can take any scanner that will meet the hardware specification. A, you need our software to run on it, and B, a user need to be assigned specifically to that device in order to be able to scan it. Otherwise, it will not work. They will not be able to log in. So there's layer of security to make sure that the material comes in a nice way and in a secure way.
Nice.
Yeah, as an issue that periodically comes up with projects is what's happening with material, how much of it left, where it's physically located, and it's a universal problem across pretty much all of the projects, including the manufacturers. Every transaction, every touch with material has essentially digital fingerprint with geolocation.
And I like the fact that you've got dashboards. So if I'm an executive, or I'm a project manager, or I'm on the construction side of the house, I can have a different dashboard based on my individual KPIs. So it's all about efficiency. I definitely see a real world application for this. And I do believe that a lot of our customers would absolutely benefit from it. So that painted a pretty good picture of what it looks like in the warehouse. And if I'm making you jump, I apologize. But how are contractors interacting with this in the field?
So that's actually a very good question. So, and I think Alex has the slides for it, that will show exactly how things are working in the field throughout the video. So because sometimes a picture or a video is better than any explanation. But throughout the video, I will just put some explanation. So what you can see is that the material is living in the video. You will see that the material is leaving the warehouse, right? Okay. So it's in its way to the field. So this is a concept that we called my truck. That my truck means that it's in transition. And then you can see in the video running some statuses that will show field. What does it mean field? So we have a scanner for the field that the contractor can put on its vest. It's connect through Bluetooth to a mobile device, and then it scan the cable or scan a different material while the cable is being lashed or while the cable is being put in the underground and being trenched. So while this process is happening, we are taking and we are understanding and we are collecting all those pieces of information. So all the GPS coordinates are being logged on, and that in the end will translate to the inventory. It will feed back to the inventory. Let's say they used only 50% of the reel. Then you will know that by the end of the job, it was done. The interesting thing that came out of it is that now construction crews, they want us to give them an accurate measurement of what they have done, even though as a system, we don't really care because our algorithms are sophisticated enough that we don't care about those small things. But actually the contractors, they care about it because they want to make sure that all their work has been counted, even though we are assuring them that it's been accounted for. They want to see it with their eyes. So we developed also that aspect for them, so they can see that. So they're basically getting an app, and they can access only to the app. They don't have access to your cloud solution. So they, even with that user that they have, they can't access to any place else beside of that single device on that single scanner. So even if they will take a different screw scanner, it will not work for them unless the customer will change the assignment of the users to the devices. So with that level of security, they will not be able to access your system, but they will be able to sync a data. So you will get the data, the customer will get the data, and then the project manager of the construction team can go and mark the work orders, what was being completed, so he can control the status of the work order. And then the project manager can actually accept, agree, disagree, or whatever it is with that. So their interaction is through the app and then through their portal, where they have access only to a work order that was assigned to that vendor specifically.
Okay, nice. Now, are there any training requirements for the contractors or any onboarding hurdles?
I would say that yes. So they need to do the training, but their training is I would say very quick.
Okay.
So they just need to know the app. They just need to know how to use their mobile phone and connect via Bluetooth, and all the rest is being done. Once they understand the basic function of the app, which is basically just scan, they need to do multiple scanning, one to scan the reel, and then just to click the scan button. Then the system actually give them indication. So there are noises that tells them everything is working correctly or incorrectly, or there is something wrong. So that give them, so they can continue work. Their hands are free, and that audio give them an indication that, oh, something went wrong, maybe something disconnected here. Let me check the status on my mobile, and if I need to reinitiate the connection. So there is a lot of audible indication just to help them save the time and focus on their work. So their training is very limited to a person that has a mobile phone and knows how to connect a device through the Bluetooth, which most of the people today knows how to do that.
Yep, the idea really was for guys in the field to focus on the construction and do what they do the best, and kind of minimum paperwork, hands-off technology, just streamline their processes, just to, for pure efficiency reasons.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so to go back to one of the modules that we talked about is that Ishai mentioned is called Playground, which is really cool concept. When we import the project from an engineering firm, layers of data, we want to make sure that project is being executed correctly and it's matching the reality, right? So some of the function of the Playground, think of it almost like a sandbox environment where we can import the data, verify it, validate it, make sure that things match before it's been pushed into the production. Because once the project is pushed into the production, software gonna do quite a few interesting things in terms of allocating, in terms of crews, in terms of inventory, make sure that things are streamlined. And Ishai, do you want to talk a little bit more about the Playground?
Yes, so thank you, Alex. So the main concept of the Playground is actually to help you verify what happened in almost any fiber project. At a certain point of time, the amount of data is exponentially grows, and then it's become almost humanly impossible to control it and not make mistakes. So this is where we are coming in. So let's say that your engineering firm send you a new a new geopackage file. I'm just saying, or it's a shape file. So when you load it to the solution, we are verifying against the database and give you a good perspective of what was changed. Because sometimes, let's say someone, I would say, unintentionally created a mistake in the project file. So now you don't want that mistake to actually percolate through your entire information data set that you were working for months to purify and to crystallize and to make sure that everything fits in the right place. So that's what it gives you. It gives you, for every layer that you load to the system, it gives you that kind of sense of, oh, I have another security measure or safeguard in order to protect me while I'm loading my data. So I know that I'm not immediately destroying all the data that I have in the database. I have another step in between that helps me to control it. And if I see anything that is suspicious, I can always revoke that point. I can always go back and I can always say, oh, I'm not actually taking that data, moving it to my database, or my design. We call it the design. So I'm not moving it, I'm stopping, I'm going to verify it, and then I will come back once the data is fresh. And once the data is fresh and you think that you're 100% sure, you will still go through the playground, make sure that whatever your gut feeling says that now it's accurate, that it's indeed accurate, and then the user will move it to the design. So there is a safeguard place that help you control the data and make sure that your data that you're bringing to the system is accurate.
So just ask a quick question there. So let's say I'm starting a project and I'm working with my pre-engineering company and they provide a high-level design. And let's say, it's, for argument's sake, it's a combination of aerial and burial. As the project moves forward, they'll then load in their low-level design. So you're saying this all starts in the playground where you can compare and contrast different versions before you publish that to the final design.
Correct.
Nice, nice.
Correct. So what will happen is that usually the way it's built, you're starting to focus on areas. So you will have one area and then you will add an area, or sometimes you will do, the main line, and then you will start to add around it. So it depends what is the strategy that someone has taken, but you can see that, oh, I just took that portion of the data. Now I enhance that portion, even within that portion, and then you can add additional segment of the data. So any subregion that you're adding, those will actually be controlled, and you can actually manage that version, so to speak. You can add as many versions as you want to compare against the database. The database, our solution doesn't care how many versions you want to test against. It just cares about what you have and what you want to bring and to test and verify. And once you said it's verified, it's become part of the main solution, and that's it. It's been verified.
I like that feature.
I think it's a very handy feature, and a feature that can save potentially a lot of issues. And going forward, it will help people actually get into the mindset of, this is how I want to manage my process. So the entire system is built around a normal day-to-day business operation. It can be tweaked, it can be changed, but the idea is that you take that system, beside of our patent and innovative fiber cable, it helps you streamline your business operation throughout our innovation.
And that leads us into the next topic: time is money. So the question is, when we're talking about savings come from multiple faucets. So if you look at the project, we call them leakages, financial leakages. They are across the project, just because it's human inefficiencies. It's normal. Some projects managed with Excel files as well. So and often it's difficult to manage 10 crews over the Excel files. So by digitizing, F360 brings savings, time savings, which as well as inventory, but in many ways it's a time saving. It's a human resource. across multiple categories, from material preparation and planning, all the way down to project closeout. And what we did, we broke out individual categories and indicated how much time we can actually save. So now think of it, suddenly projects can be completed faster. I mean, we haven't even talked about the make-ready portion, which helps to also organize and streamline the data. But as a bottom line of using F360, it saves time, a lot of time. And that time results in significant budget savings from of the project.
Wise man once said, "Time is money," right?
That's it. Well, it wasn't me. I just repeat. So, yeah, but you know, project closeout again is a very interesting problem. The validation clarification, making moreover, like you mentioned, Alex, if it's a publicly funded project, the funding source, let's say government, state, local, or federal, they will want extra information, a lot of extra information to make sure that everything is kosher. And here it becomes push button process instead of spending, I have no idea how many hours to make sure that people can provide adequate information to justify the reimbursement.
I like it. I mean, quicker path of recognizing revenue, quicker path of giving our customers the ability to requisition that money through their grant programs. And again, you bring it full circle with the ability to have those dashboards to see in real time where things are. I think it's a really impressive program.
No, exactly. And at the bottom line, it means savings. It means 20-30% improvement in the bottom line in the project construction. That's the ultimate objective, ultimate goal. And this is something meaningful because, as Ishai mentioned, you look at materials. Yes, there are certain improvements in products and materials. Some things can be deployed in a more efficient manner. There are some devices available and so on. But again, materials is only a small fraction of the project. It's also important. The bigger question is, can we do more? Can we meaningfully put a dent in the cost of the project? And F360 is able to do that. Plus, provides transparency to everybody through dashboards, through APIs, and interfacing with third-party systems and so on. Yep. So, Don, do you know if there are questions from the or Alex? Do you know if there are questions from the audience by any chance?
I do have one question in here. All these tools, apps, programs, benefits works for any country outside the U.S.?
Yes, it's not regionally for the US only. It's the software is a software, and it will work, and the report can be changed and can be templated to a certain needs. But the idea is that all the data is collected and managed everywhere. So we are working not only in the US.
In fact, in Africa, actually, we had a very interesting use case that was brought to our attention about the security, because the product is being, let's call it a product shrinkage. And you need to, with this technology, you can locate it. And so suddenly proving it if it's yours if it's a cable, you can every segment of a cable has a tag. So you can take 20 feet of cable, you'll know exactly which spool and what part of the cable it came out of. So suddenly questions, those questions just disappear. And in some regions of the world, it may be trivial for US, but it's not very trivial in in Cameroon or Yemen. Those questions will come in, and they're actual questions.
Wonderful. Well, that's all the questions we have on our side.
Yeah, I would just have one last one on my end. So for customers who are interested, how do they start? What are the next steps?
That's a very good question. Maybe one of the more important ones. I think the first thing is we have an onboarding process in which we are accumulating the data with the customer, because we need to make sure that they have a certain amount of information. And then what we need to do is also training. We need to actually explain them about the system, give them the scanners, doing the setup. So for example, let's say they have 5 warehouses. So there need to be a survey where you put the fixed devices, they have the mobile devices, the cloud instance that we will create for them. So I think that the best place that they want to start with is scoping the project. And I think it's also need to make sense for the customer. If they have 1 mile, 2 miles to deploy, it doesn't make sense to neither sides probably to go into that exercise and that kind of deployment. But the more they're bigger and they really need to manage it, and Excel doesn't do it for them, then the use case is actually starting. And then go through our onboarding process. Then we decide, then we initiate the project with the customer, and then I think that they will start to see the benefit. But the place to start with onboarding. Let's sit together, let's talk, understand the requirement, do our surveys, do our process, and very quickly we can board customers into the solution.
So I think you said something really interesting. For customers with fiber deployments of 1 to 2 miles, this might not make sense, right? You could effectively manage via Excel. If you had the bracket, what do you say the sweet spot is?
I would say that anywhere around that the project size start to be, let's say, 100 kilometers, 80 miles. This is where it starts to be like a spot that someone needs to start and maintain it. Someone needs to start and control it. Can be multiple crews. There are multiple permits. It's becoming more than something that one man can handle.
So I would say for those of you on the line, if you're looking at ARTA funding, or you're looking at BEAD funding, or if you're looking at Connect funding, those vehicles traditionally, you're talking about larger project areas, multiple counties, where your deployment area could be anywhere between 50 and 500 miles. Something like this will make sense. It's going to help you manage your projects. It's going to help optimize your process, and it'll allow you to really understand where your assets are located, both at your warehouse facilities and in the field. And again, I love the idea that you can have individual KPIs established per position, being if I'm an executive and I want to look at a top-down approach of how things are progressing, or a project manager, or I'm day-to-day in the field. Each one of those dashboards could correlate to things that are important to me. So again, from my perspective, this answers a lot of questions and creates a lot of accountability, and is quite unique.
Yeah, remember, Alex.
Accountability is the word here. Accountability. You know which item and who is where it is and who is accounted for it.
Yeah, and remember, guys, 80% of projects are over budget historically. So deploying fiber is an expensive venture. So, and people always underestimate the cost, or there are going to be some nuances and situations that will drive the cost up, and chances are it will happen. 85% of projects are over budget.
Mm-hmm.
So having mechanism that can give a much better granular control through the project lifecycle is definitely different.
So I would recommend the following. So Dawn is going to send out an email most likely tomorrow for all of those who attended. It'll be a copy of the slide presentation. You'll have this video here as well, but you're also going to have contact information. If you are looking at any of these vehicles, or you have private equity funding and you've got an upcoming build, engage us. We'd love to sit down and talk about if this makes sense for your unique requirements.
Yep.
That's all I have on my end. Anything else?
No, Alex, thank you. Yeah, all the bid work that we've been doing and you've been doing, actually, I just was sending your way.
Team of teams.
Is a big deal, and it's a lot of work. So I do appreciate it, and I think through the F360, through adding smart fiber into the conversation, everybody it's a win-win-win situation where we can effectively execute the project, provide quality product, have visibility through the project, and increase the chances to stay within the budget.
Mm-hmm. I think very well said.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much for your time. As always, this was extremely informative. For the customers who took the time, the Winncom team members, thank you again. We'll reach out to you with more details. And again, please engage us. Again, we talked about the F360 today, but LiteLinx also has a fantastic offering of OSP cables, aerial, burial, drops, and then there's fiber adjacent accessories, the MSTs, the conduits, the splice panels, and much, much, much more. So let us know how we can be of assistance.
And thank you,
Awesome.
Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
And Winncom team. I appreciate your time and everyone who were on the line. Thank you very much for your time.